I'm going to go on the computer to get things set up.
We could not get the thumbnail to work. It was so hilarious. And I'm sure that people are like, is this for real? Because we feel like about an hour ago, we got a message that they were supposed to be alive. And we saw Rachel frozen for 30 seconds and then nothing. So, yeah, we were on the road and trying to do it. And it just was not working. So we figured we'll just stop. Because it was like, you know how you're driving? Hey, what's up, Nanny? Or Mommy. I call her Nanny because that's what the grandkids call her. Hey, Debbie. So, yeah, we were driving here, and it was like, awesome cell service. No cell service at all. Awesome cell service. 1 bar. And it was like 1 bar. Oh, there you go. And it was like 1 bar.
You're gonna go there. I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna use this to monitor the chat instead of worrying about the screen.
Right. So Joe is here, but at least he can see everybody over there.
We're hoping this goes well. So we're in Central Florida, and fortunately, we have all 3 phone companies. We have T-Mobile, which is our main one, and we actually have unlimited internet with T-Mobile. And then we also have AT&T and Verizon. And guess what?
None.
There's no service on T-Mobile. The one that we have super blazing fast and unlimited, great unthrottled, zero service.
Nothing.
AT&T, which is we have like prepaid Cricket, that's the only one that has service.
So Opal says, welcome back. Thank you. Because, I thought, oh man, I can't stand that. Like, when we started the stream, it was excellent. Yeah. It was like 50 bars.
Who would think in Orlando? Like, land of Disney World, there's no service.
Yeah. So, who's here? I just want to say hi.
Sandra's here. Hey, Donna is here. Lori is here.
Hey, Lori, I'm going to see you soon.
She's in Eustis. At the IHOP.
Oh, fun.
Sandra's here. Lisa is here. Emily's here.
Hey, Lisa.
Opal's here. Mommy is here. Mommy's watching Rescue Heroes. Heath is here. So, hey, I paused my MS Journey update editing to join my favorite couple on the interweb.
Oh, thanks so much. Oh, my gracious. Hey, Paul. How's it going?
Let us know if the air conditioner is, like, too noisy because you are, like, right underneath it.
You are. It's just super hot. And as you can tell by my hair, that is just, it's continuing to just moist out, right? Like the more moisture in that, pretty soon it'll just be up. I know.
It's getting better.
It's terrible. I'm sorry though.
Can't tell them. They'll have to watch Keto on the Couch to find out.
Yeah. So Keto on the Couch
you have to preview that, by the way.
Tomorrow, which I will. That we'll premiere that. Stay cool, Rachel and Joe. Thank you. Oh, and Shelly's here, the warden. That gets me every time. Also, I don't know if Steph is in here, but I am obsessed with that animation, like animate yourself.
I know you are.
I've animated our whole family like a million times at this point. Like every single photo. Like you look funny though because have you tried that? It's like a new animation. You take pictures. It's an app. I don't even remember what it was called, but it registers for somehow hair on Joe's head. So every time I try to animate him, he has like a little baby fur up here, which is weird.
Joyce here said, hey, I'm trapped in my car under a carport waiting for a hailstorm to stop I can go pick up my kid.
Oh my gracious.
Debbie said, we're all watching and chatting earlier wondering, is this a test?
Are they messing with us? Like, seriously. But yeah, no, we were trying.
He said the only problem we already see is I can't feel it blowing on me.
Oh, I know. I cannot take it when it's hot. And it's also rainy. So it's like hot and wet. Yep. Like, great. But
Linda is on, said good evening.
And I know that we're already good evening, Linda. I know that we're already into Camp Nowhere as far as our movie list goes.
I love that movie.
I know you're excited about this because Christopher Lloyd, but I did not want to let the time go past without talking about Daddy Daycare. I am so glad we watched that movie. It had been a minute since I had seen it. And I thought I remembered when I was jotting it down that there would be a lot to talk about for our June challenge in that movie because parenthood in general and working with kids at all brings a lot of discussion as far as like where did we develop some bad eating habits in parenthood. Like it's just like and all of the things that are you're going through in that time. Right. Because, and I thought it was a great movie. Honestly, one of Eddie Murphy's best for me.
I think it's one of his best movies. And like one of his best clean movies. I mean, he was really good when he was doing 48 Hours And
Beverly
Trading
Hills-
Places, probably my
Trading
all-time favorite
Places.
movie. But when you look at when he
kids.
cleaned it up, that is probably my favorite. Like, I like it better than Dr. Dolittle, all those movies.
Really?
Like, yes. He was just so good in this movie.
Well, and did they not pick the cutest little boy ever to be his son?
Yes.
I was almost rewatching it a little bit upset that they didn't give him more speaking parts, because he nailed it. And I'm sure it takes a long time. I mean, I work with 3 and 4 year olds. It takes a long time for you to get them all looking in the same direction and like make, especially if you've ever done like Christmas plays or Vacation Bible School or something where you're trying to get kids that little.
I gotta do the coffee, otherwise it's gonna blow the breaker.
Right, to be doing what they're supposed to be doing at just the right time. But that little boy nailed it, and I just thought he was so cute. But there were a lot of different things that got brought up, themes that got brought up in that movie that I thought we could talk about right quick. But let me look and see who else is in here. Joy says, "Hi, I'm trapped in." Oh yeah, she's waiting for her kid. Debbie says we were all waiting for the test. Debbie says temperature feels like here in Houston is 100 to 107. Are you for real? That is insane. Shelly and Heath are watching Marvel movies this weekend. We just started watching the new Loki series. Caleb and I started watching it. That came out on Disney Plus. It's really good. I actually really like that Loki character. Angie says, "Good evening, Joe and Rachel." Randy says, "Good evening. Hi from Salem, Oregon." Blue Dove says, "Hi, family. My AC is proving inadequate this year. Going to have..." Joe's like blending up the coffee. My AC is proving inadequate this year. Going to have to shop for a new window unit ASAP. Yes. Oh my goodness. Like those window units can really put out some good cold air. We actually have a second unit sort of like that in our bedroom, and it gets stuff colder than
that's a split.
Our central AC. It's a split. I don't know if like you're familiar with that, but it's that like secondary air conditioner, and it's awesome. Sharon says, "Hi, watching from Dunellen. Hello." Sarah says, "Thank you, Warden." Joy says, "Yep, Marvel movies are fun." Karen says, "Hello from Michigan." Well, hello. So, just to see what are some of the themes that got brought up in there. The first one is any type of life change. So Eddie Murphy's character in this movie gets thrown for such a loop, right? Because out of nowhere, he has to get a new job. I mean, there is not even like, we're downsizing this department. It's like he gets the news and his friend gets the news right away. Like, your business is eliminated. Like, we're done with you. And I thought, gosh, talk about something that's very stressful. If you've ever lost your job or had to move positions very quickly, like that can be very stressful and can trigger you to kind of eat. Like, that's definitely something that was a problem for me as well. Mary says, "Love the Disney Marvel series." Janice says, "Hi, everybody." Blue Dove, "We were looking at split units recently." Yes. Oh, okay, cool. We really like it. Honestly, the split unit was really super good. So him and his friend, they start to venture into a new business, which was this daddy daycare service. And I thought, well, there's another like difficulty as far as sticking to your personal goals, because you are focusing all of your energy and all of your time and a lot of your finances into a new venture. And I thought, oh my gosh, like where would I be if I was trying to do all of these things that he's doing at once? Like, I mean, him and like his wife in the movie, Regina King, do an excellent job of like super respecting each other and cheering each other on as they take on new roles. But Regina is starting a new job. He was starting a new venture. It's going on in their home, like a home-based business. And I was thinking to myself, like any one of those things, forget the kid element. Just losing your job, your spouse having to get a brand new job, returning to work from being a stay-at-home situation, starting a business in your home with your friend that you know nothing about and trying to research all that. What do you think that would be doing to your health goals as you're trying to venture out like that?
I'd be just snacking all the time.
Right?
All the time.
I feel like there's a lot of potential for consoling yourself with bad eating behavior because there's so many other things that you can't control.
What was the movie that I don't even remember the name of it? We just watched that movie the other day.
A little cream on my nose.
Where she was like, they got married with oh my gosh, I can't even remember the guy's name is in it. His brother is also an actor.
Remember the song that we don't know the words or tune to?
What was the movie we watched where they got married, but it was like, we're not gonna, no sex at all? What movie was that?
I don't know.
We watched it the other day. You were watching it, where there was like no sex.
The mirror has two faces.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Can you give me the name of the actor, please?
The actor is Jeff Bridges.
Thank you.
I believe.
Like I said, brother,
Yeah.
So anyway, we were watching the movie, and I was thinking about like every time she was stressed, what was she doing? Like eating snowballs.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it was like a hidden behavior.
Yeah. Like remember when because at one point he even goes in and he reaches up like, what is?
Yeah. What is this?
What adult woman eats snowballs?
This woman used to. Like, let's be honest. All right, so let's see what are people saying, just in case they're answering stuff.
Carmen said I have a small window AC in my bedroom, but unless it's 99 and over, I rarely turn it on. That's how I am in my office. In my office, which is outside of our bedroom, it's got a flat roof. So I have a window AC in there, but I only turn it on like once if I'm working in the office and it's late in the afternoon. Like I'll come home and somebody's turned it on. I'm like, it costs a fortune to run a window AC, especially when you have the other ones in a room with a flat roof.
Right.
But sometimes it just cools down that, from the computers when I'm having the computer going or when I used to play PlayStation, that thing would put off like ridiculous heat.
Yeah.
And so we have that window AC just to keep it cool. But in our bedroom, that room is like the last on the whole line. And there's no insulation in the attic over our bedroom, so it gets so hot. So we put that mini split in. I love that thing.
I love it.
I don't think I would ever do a window AC again. It just, yes, you got this big thing hanging on the wall, but it functions like a regular AC, and you don't have to worry about your window.
They talk about a midlife crisis purchase. This was a menopause crisis purchase.
When ours went out, because we had one that was like 4 years old, and it finally went out, and we buy the Pioneer brand because you can buy them on Amazon, but the company's based out of Florida in Miami, and they're like really cheap and they last a long time. And we had one, and it finally went because I broke it. I tried to clean it and popped the coils.
Yeah.
And we bought the new one, and Rachel's like, "You have 24 hours. If you don't go get a replacement one,
talk about the warden."
No, I mean it's just like it was hot, and you're like, yeah, we get so used to having it, we can't not have it.
We can't not have it.
I think she'd move into the RV if our air conditioner went.
I actually would. I saw somebody had mentioned like that, asking if we were in Eleanor, West Virginia. No, we are in Florida still, but we are in Eleanor.
Eleanor
which is
our RV.
RV.
We named our RV. Don't ask me why.
That's probably a bizarre thing to do, but
people name their boats and their cars. And
we don't have a boat. We have an RV. We're naming it.
If we owned a Shelby Mustang and named it Eleanor, we wouldn't own the car anymore.
I have a car, and my car's name is Barnabas.
I had no idea you named your car.
He's Barnabas.
That's interesting.
Well, we spend so much time together? Shouldn't I know his name?
He's doing an interview.
Oh, nice.
Debbie said prayers for you in your interview, Heath.
That is awesome. Well, I'm excited.
He's supposed to. It's for a job. Hopefully it's like a working interview.
Well, I guess I'm not registering a lot of emotion because I feel like anybody that doesn't hire him is an idiot.
Right.
And you don't want to work for an idiot.
No.
Because you're awesome. Everybody should hire Heath, right? Like, oh my gracious.
Yeah.
What a blessed workplace that would be.
Let's see. There's no other comments.
Gone in 60 Seconds reference. Yes.
Love that movie.
They name the Mustang as Eleanor.
So fun fact.
Can't name your own.
You cannot name your Mustang Eleanor and publicly talk about it, or you will no longer own your Mustang.
Yeah, it's been copyrighted.
Yep, the name Eleanor for any Mustang has been copyrighted.
Is that weird?
The woman who owns it will go after you. She has gone after famous YouTubers who have restored Shelby Mustangs and named them Eleanor, and won.
Well, there is zilcho chance of us restoring a vehicle because I don't think that
I would love to. I was always a dream of me and my dad.
But
we always.
Do you know how to do those things?
If you give it to me and tell me you could do whatever you want, I could figure it out. All I need is a YouTube and something that I can take apart. Like, look what I did to our RV this weekend. Like, I cut holes in the side walls outside.
I can't watch those things.
I changed out our refrigerator. I just added electric stabilizer jacks. I don't know how to do this stuff. I'm like winging a prayer.
Lord, mostly us like praying pretty hard. So another thing that obviously is like super relatable to me, and I think a lot of people, is when you have children coming into your home and you're cooking for kids and you're making breakfast and lunch and dinner and you're packing lunches and you're doing snack time and you're trying to make a fun atmosphere for kids. And here's the thing too, he's dealing with other people's kids, not just his kids. Right. So if the children that go to that workplace, that daycare center, if you're a teacher, you could be in an elementary school, and you're just around food that maybe is the families want their children to eat. Right. And now you're around it. And like, can you make good choices when you're around it? I weighed almost 300 pounds. What do you think? Can you make food? And that was a challenge that was just so difficult for me. Making food that was a kid food and me not eat it. Right. Because before I had children, I wasn't somebody that was constantly eating grilled cheese sandwiches and macaroni and cheese and like chicken nuggets and french fries. Like, what you think of is kid food. The things that you can get on a kid plate at a restaurant. I mean, like the stuff that the FDA says is perfectly healthy for children, but you shouldn't let them have keto chow or any other meal replacement drink. Right. But it's so, like it's so challenging. That time of life, like if right now you're raising kids and you're doing keto, like, I'm so proud of you. I understand that is a difficult thing to do. Joe and I have each lost more than 100 pounds, but we didn't do it when our kids were little. No. We didn't do that. You're awesome. Like, our hat is off to you, because that is another layer of difficulty that we didn't have to deal with. Right. Because we just made terrible mistakes when we were raising our kids. And then we're able to get, we made even more terrible mistakes when we got together. Yeah. As two fat people trying to raise their children. Yeah, because it was like, sometimes too, your time to eat is the only free time that you will give yourself at all. Like, there would be days where, as a young parent too, like when the kids are little, you don't even get a shower. You're not guaranteed a shower. Well, we were talking about this today. Like, one of our friends has a kid, and we were talking about, like, rest time. And they're like, well, when do I get rest time? When they're 21. Right. Now, but I remember when I was raising the kids, because there were several years where I was a single dad raising the boys. But when they were little and I would watch them, the greatest time of the day was kids' nap time. Not because I didn't hear them, but because I could either A, take a nap, or B, take a shower, or mow the lawn, or do something because they were down. Yeah. And it's like, and so now I at least look at, now there's so much technology that, okay, kids go to take a nap, you can do it a little bit safer than me, where it's like, crack open the window and listen for the crying. Right. Yeah, no, you can have total, like, I was looking at my friend that I work with at church, her little girl, like, was home with dad this morning, and we could watch on, like, the nanny cam. Right. Like, oh, this is exactly what she's doing right now. But you didn't have that technology when our kids were little, that you would take the phone with you. I mean, we had, a video surveillance, but it was within the house. I had, like, walkie-talkie baby monitors. Are you okay? They never really worked that well. The baby answers back. Lots of squelching. Milk. But yeah, but that was, over. I mean, that would bring about a lot of stress, because you're already feel like you're overdone. You're trying to work. You're trying to raise your kids. You never get a break when they're awake. So when they would go to sleep, if I wasn't taking a nap, I was like, what can I eat? Because anytime you're eating, your kids want to have whatever you're eating, right? So of course now it's like, how fast can I get this in? And I mean, and exercise, all that stuff, that's way out there. And there's a lot, before we did more research on keto and stuff, where we could see that it was also cost effective, because in your mind you're thinking, if I make very carby foods, I can feed my family for such a low amount of money. And, you know, if you were a single parent like us, or you're parents that have come together and you've got 3 or more kids, I mean, budgets were a concern.
We were massive couponers, like, and when we were like card people. And we used to make a challenge, like, how cheaply could we feed our family? And we actually got down to the point where we were using coupons, able to feed a family of 5 under less than $3 a day. And that is all 3 meals. I mean, now, was that food healthy?
It wasn't.
No wonder we were just putting on 10 pounds a year.
They were full, but they weren't well.
No.
They were full, but they weren't nourished. And that was definitely something that we were dealing with too, that we were heavy and we were eating, but we were very malnourished. We were very deficient because it tends to be when you're eating that, like, what I would call like kid food that they say is kid and toddler food, it's very lopsided.
Yeah.
Let's
do some of these comments. Keto Crafter said, I know how to clean a carburetor and what to do if you get carburetor cleaner in your eye.
Wow. Oh.
You're a step ahead of me because I don't know how to do either of those things.
I know how to attempt to clean it and then drive to the hospital.
And here's the thing. So I shouldn't even admit this. I love construction. I love fiddling with things. Obviously, like, we're in the process of a series for our camping channel on renovating Eleanor, where I'm just making major modifications across the board to turn it into the perfect camper. But I'm not the safest when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, safety glasses, out the window.
You
I don't ever wear safety. I don't even own a pair of safety glasses.
Okay, that's what I'm getting him tomorrow.
Right. So, like, you know, cutting things, like, just like, I don't need a set of sawhorses. Like,
so
hold it up in the air.
I can't
saw
hear this.
across it. So, like, when she's going, like, I probably need to know how to get carburetor fluid out of my eye, because there's probably a good chance that I'll get it in my eye at one point, since I don't wear safety glasses. But
Lori, do you know how to avoid hitting your head with things? Because
this is not hitting my head.
That is.
Well, that's what was this? No, this was a bump. I don't know what the heck this was. It may have been trying to avoid what did this.
Okay.
I don't know what
Concussion?
that is. I'm still not telling anybody what this is. They'll find out tomorrow. Sonia said I had a 2008 Shelby, but it was named the Reaper.
Lori says, Joe needs a helmet. Works great.
I'm
putting you in a helmet.
Confident
and a bubble suit.
Confident Fit Mom said, OMG, my kids eat typical kid foods. I'm trying to get them to eat more protein that isn't covered in breading. And it's hard.
It is so challenging. And honestly, like, I would try to get the kids to eat fish sticks sometimes, because in my mind it was like, well, fish is healthier. Again, both of them were breaded. I don't even know what fish it was. It was like minced up fish.
It's fish in the world.
It's just garbage.
It's kind of like hot dogs, right? Fish guts.
But they would only eat this one particular fish stick that was so heavily breaded that even pre-keto, I thought to myself, I ain't getting any fish in this. This is not fish. I am just giving them batter.
I actually envy new parents who are having their kids when they're on keto.
Like
Dr. Berry or Dr. Silas, or not just them, but anybody, because it's difficult. Like, you know, you want to say, well, you're the parent, and so just tell them this is what you're eating, and like eventually you'll eat it because like you're going to be hungry. But that's challenging. You don't want to put your kids through that 3-month transition of like, you're no longer getting chicken nuggets, eat this or starve, right?
Yeah.
So what's the best solution? Start them off young. Like, you know, I look at like pastor from church where he's got celiac and his kids don't.
They don't even.
But they don't have a choice. Like, there is no gluten allowed in the house from the day they were born. So they're used to it.
I was going to say, because they don't even have a taste for that.
Right.
And because it's a medical issue.
Right.
No one offers them anything
right.
or makes them feel bad about it. But I think about, you know, there's a lot of kids going to school and they're going to parties and things, right. Or they're going for a play date,
right?
Or you go to Chuck E. Cheese,
right?
And there are not a lot of offerings
no.
for your party that is keto.
But you're not going to be able to control your kids when they get into high school or even in middle school or even grade school.
Right.
You know, but if you can control what's in the house when they go out of the house, so if they're getting it 5 or 10% of the time, it's a lot better than 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But the key, I think, is to not give it to them to begin with. You think of, like, I remember when my kids were born, that, like, the biggest suggestion I got was wait as long as possible to give them any of the fruits, right? The jarred fruits, right? When it came to baby food, give them the squash. Don't even give them carrots. It was like squash and peas and chicken, like all of the bland, nasty looking and tasting stuff. But don't give them the fruits or the carrots or any of that, because once you give them the taste of
they didn't want the
they
other
never
things.
Wanted the chicken or the peas or the squash.
It's
and I
funny,
think it's the same thing here. It's like the longer, like when I look at our nephew, they've never had soda, right? They don't drink soda.
Right. And so
they don't know. They don't struggle with what I struggle with, like I want my soda.
Yeah, because they just don't even have any knowledge or association, and it's not something that is a treat for them.
Right.
So they're just like, no, I drink water.
Yeah.
Like, that's just them.
Marie said, oh, it jumped. Let me go back to it. Where'd it go? Marie said, my husband got stressed over car issues this week and got candy and Coke at the convenience store. He didn't even realize he was doing it. It was an unconscious behavior.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because yes, I think that is something that is not an isolated incident.
Yeah.
Because when you just need a moment of comfort, or you feel like out of control, like you think about when we get into like a stressful situation, even parking the trailer, or if I'm concerned that like I think there's a tree branch, we work really hard to have a good relationship where we talk to each other with respect.
Now. That's the best way for us to have a good relationship.
But I'm just saying that, like, for the most part, like, we're careful with our words with one another. We know, like, that we have the ability to either I can build you up or tear you down.
Right.
So, like, we try really hard, but in a moment of stress, what do?
Yep.
Reach for the behavior you're accustomed to, which is yell first.
Yep.
Ask questions later.
That's me.
Yeah, right? So it's very challenging, too, to not reach for the behavior that's associated with
I don't even
the
think
food.
I can count the number of times that, like, I have yelled, usually about something stupid. And it's not like a mean yell, it's just not being nice. It's not so much not yelling,
so more like curt.
Not being nice or saying something that is hurtful.
I've, like, spilled coffee
to
all
then
over.
have to, like, apologize for it. Because I realized later on, like, that was just, like, I wasn't thinking, I was stressed out. And I do the same thing. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like I had grabbed something that I don't even want to eat, but it's just a habit.
Yeah.
And grab it. And then before I would even put it in my mouth, I would, like, throw it out. And this is even before keto and stuff.
Well,
like,
and even since keto, I have to be careful that when there's like a stressful thing or a time of day, and definitely kids kind of set those parameters too. Like, now that the kids are older, our time of eating breakfast, lunch, if we eat breakfast and lunch, and dinner are very different. But when the kids are little, you're sort of more regimented. Like, you only have times, especially if you're mom taxiing around and you've got a lot of appointments and things, you know, you it's like, this is when you eat, and, you know, you just practice this on the go thing.
Right.
And so sometimes I'm just stressed.
Right.
And I will reach for food outside of an eating window, and it's like, I don't need to eat right now.
Yes.
But you're just doing it because that's the behavior that you remember.
Right. Bridget says, I'm going to have a hard time eating healthy because unfortunately my sister-in-law and her 3 kids are moving in a couple of weeks. Okay.
It's
going to take some strength, and here's what I'm going to say. And don't take this as being mean, but you are the most important person, not them. So you need to come first. And if that means you need to look at them and go, listen, my health goals are more important, you're on your own when it comes to cooking. Or, you know,
I can't be around that.
I know that it's hard to do that, but you have to put your health goals first. You have to put, like, yourself first. And I mean, we've talked about this even, like, with our kids and stuff. And it's like, we always said that, like, listen, I love my children. I want to hang out with my children, but she comes first. Why? Because that's how God designed it. And the bottom line is they eventually move out, and she's going to
You're stuck with me.
Right? But you have to put you first. You put you first. Do the best you can. But even if you have to give them a separate closet and don't put any of your kind of snacks and foods in there or whatever, and just put their stuff in an area where like, hey, like I don't even want to see it. I mean, we do that with our kids.
We do. They have a separate shelves in the pantry.
Low down, so I don't have to look at it.
And then some of the snacks and things that we really had an issue with, those have to be stored in their room. So, and they have their own like little like dorm room refrigerator in each of their rooms. Yep. So if they have beverages that are like full sugar or something like that. And
it's not even that we're not going to, it's not like we're going to, oh, it's there, I'm going to have it. I mean, we've been doing this long enough that I'm not tempted by it all, but
it was just a practice we started.
It's a practice we started, and it also frees up room in my fridge for my stuff.
It does. Another thing that I have done is actually label stuff, because it's very easy for me to compartmentalize like not eating a coworker's meal. If I went to work and you have like your coworkers in the refrigerator at work have like their lunch, there is no way that I'm going to take just a nibble or a bite out of their lunch. I just wouldn't do that, obviously. So what I will do is put labels like Anthony, Caleb, if I know we've got somebody coming over, or if I'm going to work.
Well, even because sometimes Rachel will make we'll have a big thing, a log of ground beef, and she'll make up a bunch of ground beef, and she'll have to label that because there's a chance that we'll grab it. Like you just look in and you see this pile of cooked ground beef. Well, there's a chance that she put tomato sauce in there.
Right. How much?
How much is in there? Like if I'm doing it, it's like a half a cup for like 5 pounds of tomato sauce, enough to give it a slight tomato flavor. But with them, there may be more onions that I want to eat or something like that. Yeah. So no different than, hey, like this is food that like I wouldn't eat because I don't like an ingredient. You know, we have to label things because it could be food that it's got an ingredient that we don't really want.
So labeling it's helped because it just makes it's got that like extra little stop what you're doing, Rachel. Don't approach this. Yeah. Which helps.
Confident Fit Mom said exercise happens way before my kids get up, 4:10 a.m. and working out by 5 a.m. Yeah. You are better than me.
Well, I usually am up. For me, I'm like put my sneakers on out the door. Like I don't really get prepared to work out, but like by 5 a.m. like I'm right there with you, girl, because you have to. Like you have to get earlier than the day demands, because and sometimes even you're being really sweet and you'll say like, why don't you just sleep in and do it a little bit later? But I know that I need to give myself that early morning buffer because stuff just comes up.
Well, the only reason I say that, though, is because the sleep is just as important as the exercise.
That's true.
So if you're going to sleep at midnight or 1 a.m. and getting up at 5, I'd rather you, like, work out a little bit longer to get that extra hour sleep is 10 times more important than going for a walk or exercise or anything, because like you need that for all of your hormones and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's good. Both of them are needed, but I feel so good about myself and accomplished when I get that workout in.
Right.
That like that's another level that it's like I got to do it.
Blue Dove said, I had some trouble at first when my honey and daughter were eating regular food. He still brought cookies, Little Debbie's cakes, and my nemesis, Cheetos.
Yeah.
But I can abstain once I made the decision. That's going to be the key.
I'm so proud of you. And that really is, that's the key. That really is. And I mean, there's so many choices that we make every day. And I'm so proud of you guys for the choices that you're making, because even just having a good attitude about it is a choice that I have the opportunity to make. Some days I don't make that choice to have a good attitude.
Right.
Sometimes I get very like frustrated.
Right.
Right? Like if you see other people like having weight loss success but they're not on keto. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's very hard to be like, I really want to be happy for you right now.
Right.
But like if you're in a stall, you're a human. So you just have to make that choice. Like, I'm going to cheer for that person. I'm going to just trust that I'm going to keep doing the right thing, and I feel good, and I'm enjoying good health, and this is going to happen for me, and I'm just going to continue to I'm going to have a good attitude about it. Right. But it's challenging. Yeah. It really is.
Let's see.
Because that was another thing that kind of came out in the movie. I loved how Eddie Murphy's character, he was so frustrated by Angelica Houston is like the bad guy in this movie. She's got a rival daycare center, and she's really being undermining. Every time she would do something, like she would basically call like social services on their business to be like, I don't think they're up to code in what they're doing. All I could think about was that guy around the block that calls, code enforcement.
Meanwhile, I don't know if Mommy's still in here. We have like 4 9-year-olds
that are on
riding around in our neighborhood powered go-kart, up and dune buggy, up and down the street.
So
they're
scary.
like 9.
I know, they're babies.
Running across our lawn. They ran like straight across our lawn this morning. And
I'm just afraid they're going to get in an accident.
I call the police. Nobody even comes out.
I know.
And I'm like, wait a second, sir. They're going down your block too.
Right.
Like, you're calling because I put a branch in front of my yard 5 hours before bulk pickup, but you're not calling about these 4 babies.
I know,
driving
they're so
a dune buggy up and down the street.
I'm so afraid they're gonna no helmet.
Nothing.
I
nothing.
know.
And they don't know what they're doing.
Of course not. They shouldn't have to know. They're 9. But
Izzy said, my wife and I are struggling getting our kids to eat healthier. They're so used to the standard American diet, it's a slow process.
It really is.
But just a little bit of time.
One meal at a time. One of the things that we would do with our kids, even when they were little, we were just trying to get them to do like vegetables or whatever we were trying to have them to eat. We would say like, okay, this is what we're having today. Would you like broccoli, green beans, or Brussels sprouts? So that like they're having a choice, but you're having a choice from the choices that I'm providing you. Right. It's not like an open-ended choice. And sometimes it's still hard. Like I was counseling with a lady yesterday who's got to make some tough choices with her child. And I was like, it's still like children don't always choose well for themselves.
That's right.
And sometimes you just have to step in as a parent. You know, like one of the things that we were talking about was like when they're little, they don't want to take a nap and they like kind of throw a fit about it. No. But you continue making them have the nap.
Right.
And you listen to their crying about it because you know that the nap is super important. And sometimes you just have to have that battle. It's not comfortable.
Oh, it's hard.
It's really hard, but it's worth it in the end.
Let's look at some of these comments because we got a bunch of them.
Yay!
Let's see. Anthony and Kat said, my daughter and youngest son eat keto, but I can't get my eldest son, who is 23, to at least lower his carbs. And believe me, the older they get, the harder it is. I mean, we like tease Anthony, but I don't know. It's just, I mean, look at it this way. If they start at least examining ingredients,
that's a great start.
That's a giant step in the right direction.
Well, and they're watching you. Some of it too, I find, is like it's growing pains because they're trying to develop their own independence, especially like in our situation where you've got 3 guys,
right,
all old, and then you've got this silverback gorilla that is like, you know, who's in charge, who's the alpha. And I think everybody's trying to kind of stretch their independence a little bit. So the best thing is not to be like, no, you're gonna do this, because then they'll rebel immediately about it.
Yeah. Debbie said, I have to bite my tongue watching my daughter-in-law feed my grandson. She focuses on organic, but so much is still carbs.
That I'm so proud of you. That is really tough.
That's really hard.
Not to say something, but again, your kids and your grandkids, they're watching you to see how you're feeling, how you have success. Even like my younger nephews have mentioned like eating something like Nanny does, because Nanny always feels good. Right. And like if they've gotten sick or had a tummy ache and it's like, wow, they stop to think, well, Nanny has not, I can't remember the last time Nanny had a tummy ache. Why am I getting a tummy ache all the time?
Brianna said, my nephew is 18 months old. Instead of crackers, I give him Cello Whisks and pork rinds. He loves them. It makes me happy to see him eating healthy.
And it dissolves the same way, right? The pork rinds really like
so long as you don't do cracklings.
Yeah.
Blue Dove said it's a little easier to resist when you know it was invented from a byproduct of cleaning animal feed extruders.
Woof.
Cheetos are not food. I did not know that. Thank you for never letting me have a Cheeto again.
Oh my gracious.
Mary said it's been the best few weeks ever. First, my sister started keto, then her 2 daughters. Now my own daughter. It only took 4 years.
Wow.
It's finally a family affair. That's awesome.
Thank you though for sharing that it took 4 years. Because there's somebody that's 6 months or 8 months into this, and they're thinking like, is there any hope for my family?
Yeah.
It
takes a long time.
And there is. And I know that was a long time to wait, but like, that's so awesome.
Yep. Sharon said, my daughter and granddaughter eat so much sugar foods. I keep telling my daughter to cut back on sugar, to stop sugar foods.
It's
the best thing to do is just the best thing to do is to not preach it and just live and let them see you and see how you're feeling, and then eventually they start, let me go ahead and give this a shot.
Yeah.
Keto Crafter said it's always easy to resist stuff like that when it will inevitably cause you pain. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that is, but they, people have to have that realization for themselves, because I was talking to a lady today and she was talking about how she has like terrible arthritis pain, and she wasn't ready to go keto. But I said, well, are there some oils that maybe we could start getting out of your diet, because those are very inflammatory for everybody. And so she's like, I had no idea. And she's like, could it be that simple? Could I really start to not have as much arthritis pain if I switched up my oils? Like, is that just like an urban myth? And I'm like, no, we have actually experienced it. Joe has had arthritis for many, many years. Go talk to him, and I think that really helped that you've seen somebody that's actually lived through it. But sometimes people are still like, they just don't understand how easy it is to start feeling better.
There is a reason that the medical industry doesn't want everybody to know about keto.
No.
Why? They'd be out of business.
Well, because you think that...
how do you think any funeral director wants you to live forever?
No.
Right? I mean,
he's not
we're worth money to the medical industry, especially big pharma. So they're going to try their hardest to convince us it's not as easy as just changing your diet.
Right, because here's the thing. It's like before, we would cook our food, eat our food, get in our car...
Take some Pepto-Bismol.
Go to CVS, buy the over-the-counter medicine, fill your prescription up, then come home. Now what we do, cook our food and eat it, and not leave our house, and not do anything else. Because there is something easier than just medicating the pain.
Yep.
It is feeding your good health.
Lisa said, I have my son keep his snacks and his non-keto items in his room too, and his own fridge for his own snacks.
That is great. And also, like, if you're in our Facebook family group and you have like a trick or a hack like that for dealing with like stressful situations, share it in the group, because there's somebody that could really be blessed when you come up with an idea of a new way to do something.
Yep. Lisa said, since James has been out of town visiting family in New York City, I've been home alone and was able to have some foods I usually don't get to eat.
Oh, that's good.
That's cool.
So something that like you like, but maybe it's not his favorite protein.
Right. Let's see. It just jumped. Laura said, I've been keto for 9 months. Sorry, I'm shaking the table and it's my iPad. Lost 70 pounds. I'm 15 away from my goal.
Way to go.
I feel better now and I'm healthier.
Good for you. I'm so proud of you.
Let's see. People talking to each other, so I'm trying to find
I love it when y'all
Ludev says, I remember that there was a saying, nothing tastes as good as thin feels. But I was never thin, so I had no concept of what it meant.
Yeah.
But nothing tastes as good as reduced inflammation feels, for sure.
That's true. Because, like, weight loss aside, like, I loved, Autumn had a thing that it was like, come for the weight loss, stay for the health.
Right.
Because, like, yes, that's it. No matter what, weight aside, after years of crawling to the bathroom after a heavy walking day because your foot was done. It was like there was no more negotiating any more steps out of your legs. Right. They were in that much pain. And now that is never the case.
Right.
Would you ever go back?
Nope.
Because that was so painful, but you had to
30
know
years of arthritis medication and
was.
Vicodin and literally like working football games on Saturday because I loved it, but Sunday morning like literally
on
hands and knees crawling into the bathroom.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when we had first found Coastal and pastor would come to me and say like, hey, can you come do setup, which was at 4 a.m. And I was like, I would love to, but I can't walk at 4 a.m. on a Sunday during like, football season. I'm like, during like off season, I could probably do it, but not during football season. Like it'll take me 3 hours just to get out of bed and get loose enough. And now I don't have that issue.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I can go do 8, 9, 10 miles for a bunch of games, and then the next morning go do some more games and have no problems.
Yeah.
Laura said, so what do you suggest in advice? I'm only about 12 pounds from my goal weight. Some people say stay on keto and allow myself a little more carbs, or what? Okay, I know that this is not what a lot of people say. I'm going to tell you, why are you even considering going off the keto? And I know that's really blunt, but why would you go off the keto?
Well, maybe she's wondering, like, not to go off of keto, but, like, for maintenance purposes.
Well,
like,
I'm just saying, some people are saying, like, we'll stay on keto a little bit longer, but allow more carbs. Like, I would never go off of keto because not of the weight, because of the health benefits.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you're like, I want to know how is it once I get to my goal that I don't continue to lose weight, which is something that I did. Like, my goal was like 195 pounds, and I continued to lose weight until I really learned how to manage that weight loss. And the best thing you can do is you kind of up your fat so it's a lot closer to that 1-to-1, maybe even slightly over, and up the amount of food you eat slowly, like reversing it up. You don't want to go from, if you're eating 1,800 calories and go, okay, I'm at my goal, so I'm going to start eating 2,500 calories tomorrow. That will put weight back on. You've got 25 to 50 calories a week to work your way up. But stay keto, and then you get to eat delicious food all the time, and you don't have to worry about it. And if you stay keto and do 1-to-1, you should maintain, unless all of a sudden something drastic happens.
Well, and that way you won't have any other health progress. Like, that's a pain. Because, again, if you add some of the old stuff back in, then you also risk adding in the water retention and the inflammation and all that kind of stuff, and that can, like, it can really spoil weight loss quickly.
Let's do a couple more and then we're going to get off. Lynette said, I've been trying to get my family on board for keto for 3 years. My 19-year-old son just got put on statins, so this may finally get him to join me.
Yeah, sometimes something like a major, like, fork in the road like that.
Lisa wants you to know that she's been eating chicken gizzards on Friday and Saturday and tonight for dinner.
That is awesome. Oh my goodness. I've still
she had chicken livers on Friday and Saturday.
I really have enjoyed your pictures too. You had one that was like a paper plate in one of those plastic holder things. You know, like for a barbecue, if you're doing like a picnic, and it helps it so that your paper plates don't blow away. Mm-hmm. It was such a gorgeous picture. I was like, how did Lisa make a disposable paper plate in one of the plastic holder plates look that good? Like, you need to open a restaurant. Yeah. Like, you really do. It's
Confident
gorgeous.
Fit Mom said that's what we had to tell our in-laws. They wondered what we were going to do when we hit our goal weight. We responded, why would we go back to something that doesn't work and isn't healthy?
Yeah, but again, that is the way that it always was. Like, I mean, that was the first 40 years of my life, was like, I was only trying to, usually it wasn't even a pound issue, it was an event. This diet lasts precisely as long as I have to attend that event. So it's like, if we have like, hey, we've got a church banquet we have to go to, some sort of a family reunion you want to look decent at, like something, we're going out to dinner with, like, you know, the people from work. Right. Then you're like, okay, that's how long we have for this different way of eating, and then I'm going to go back. Right. So that's just, you know, that's kind of a muscle memory on like how we used to diet before.
Mary said, it's true. There isn't a lot of info on maintenance. I've just kept my eye on my weight and up my calories. And if I find myself losing, which does happen more than I gain. So, yeah, I mean, well, here's my opinion is there's no such thing as maintenance.
You're usually gaining.
You're either losing or you're gaining. And it's just finding the way to volley back and forth. You can absolutely gain weight on keto. I've proven that. Never have gone off keto in 4 years, and I am up like 20 pounds from what my lowest weight was. So you can absolutely, it's just a matter of learning your body and learning what agrees with you and what doesn't, and finding that homeostasis. And one of the things that we really have learned as we've done more studying on it, and that is if you eat 1-to-1 on what your goal weight is or what your maintenance weight is, that should help you to maintain, because that's your homeostasis. That's where you're giving your body exactly what it needs and what it wants. When you go over on the fat and on your fuel side of that, that's where you're going to start gaining weight. If you go under, then you would obviously start losing weight. If you're trying to get to that weight now, that's why you're going to eat based on your goal weight. Your goal weight is 300 pounds and you eat 1-to-1 based on 300 pounds, you're going to stay at 300 pounds.
But with that said, when I just saw Chris in here. Hey, Chris. With Keto Salt Lake, with Asner Cindy, when she was talking about the body, and if you missed her talk, it was so interesting, and she talked so much about the biology of what's going on the inside of our body, and our bodies are amazing. There is so much going on. Every single organ of our body is doing a unique job that is it's just amazing. Like,
and it's got fail-safe systems, which is really amazing.
Incredible. But with that, there's a lot going on. It's not just like, Baby Alive, where you're feeding like food and then it's just coming out the bottom and like there's nothing going on with it. Like sleep plays into it, and stress, and your body is like reacting to different things, and if there's a problem in one area, like it's just amazing. So sometimes you can be doing everything right and be thinking, well, this weight should be falling off, because for a while it was, and then all of a sudden I'm on a plateau. Well, there's other things going on that's not just what you're eating.
Okay.
Hey, Miriam.
Becky wants to know, anybody here doing Maria Emmerich's protein-sparing diet? I've been stalled and would like to lose a few more pounds before my daughter's wedding in 8 weeks.
Ooh,
we have done it.
Congratulations.
It is great. Just remember, it's not a long-term thing. Just make sure you do it right. Maria does it right.
She does it right.
A lot of people think protein-sparing modified fast is just eat a bunch of protein, eat no fat. That's not really healthy. You need a certain amount of fat. So the way her program has it is you're going to have a high-fat day or a moderate-fat day, and then you're going to have a really low-fat day. Those low-fat days,
they're tough.
They're tough. Not because you don't get a lot of food, because you're eating a ridiculous amount of protein. And I remember like calories being somewhere around 700 and still being like, I don't think I could eat another thing. Because you're eating 700 calories of protein.
Right.
I think when you got like 25 grams of fat for that day.
But when you're used to eating the fat, it can be a little bit challenging because it fills you up in the moment, but you're not going to necessarily be as satiated as you're used to on those low fat days, and that it is challenging. So just like be prepared that it's not going to be total cakewalk.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna get off. Randy wants to know if anybody makes their keto chow coffee. Rachel does sometimes.
I do sometimes. Well, and every single keto chow gets coffee run down through it when I'm finished. So like the blender bottle, I always put coffee in that and shake it up because I don't want to miss any of the residual like keto chow. But so anyway, so the next movie that we're going to be talking about is Camp Nowhere. Joe is super excited about that.
I love that movie. I
am really thankful, though, for Daddy Daycare. I really love it. I think that's probably has been my favorite one so far. I think it was just remembering back.
We should have done Are We There Yet?
To young kids. Yeah, that was like our date movie. But it's a good reminder. And it also reminds me to just be praying for you parents that are trying to do this. This is tough. We do not give you enough credit. Like, you're doing an awesome job, and the choices that you're making for your kids to have less sugar in their lives and to have those fights every day that we do with our family to just help them, keep making good choices and lead them in the right direction. It's not, you're not wasting your time. And we see what you're doing. Yeah. Like, you're amazing. Yeah. I'm really, really proud of you.
Okay, everybody, have a great night, and I'll see you. Hopefully, we'll be able to do the premiere tomorrow. 10 a.m. for Keto on the Couch.
We love you guys.
Have a good night.